try to be useful. Do things that are useful to your fellow human beings, to the world. It's very hard to be useful.
You can choose a life of ease and comfort, or you can choose a life of service and adventure. Which one of those, when you're 90 years old, are you going to be more proud of?
Welcome back, Wealth Tubers. In today's video, we're diving into the cities that saw the biggest changes in 2024. From rising home prices to shifts in housing inventory, we'll take a closer look at the markets making the most waves this year. So, if you're curious about where the real estate action is happening, stick around and let's get into it. When looking back on the housing market of the past year, it really seems like we've been on a roller coaster. And not just the ups and downs. The early part of 2024 was characterized by waiting and anticipation. Much like that long, anxiety-inducing climb up the big first hill at the start of most roller coasters as we waited for mortgage rates to come down. Once we got over the crest of that hill, it was a wild ride.
Waiting for rates to come down.
In our preview for 2024, we hope to see that rates may find themselves firmly in the 6% range for much of 2024. We weren't the only ones, as we quoted National Association of Realtors, NAR, Chief Economist Lawrence Yun saying, "I believe we've already reached the peak in terms of interest rates. The question is, when are rates going to come down?" That was the important question, indeed. Most eyes were on the Federal Reserve and its decisions with the federal funds rate. That is the rate commercial banks use when borrowing from each other on a nightly basis, and it has an indirect effect on many aspects of our economy. The Fed uses it as a tool to control inflation and support employment. The hope for much of the year was that once the Fed decided to cut the rate, mortgage rates would follow. But for 5 Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC, meetings, the Fed decided to keep the rate fixed. But the big change in tone came after their July meeting, when Chairman Jerome Powell indicated that they were prepared to make a change at their next meeting. Mortgage rates responded accordingly and dropped nearly 3/4 of a percentage point over the next few weeks. Mortgage applications went up and homeowners started refinancing their mortgages to take advantage of savings with a lower rate.
How the Fed's rate cut affected mortgage rates.
At the September meeting of the FOMC, the committee surprised some by implementing a 0.5% cut to the federal funds rate. Some had expected a 0.25% cut. Strangely, mortgage rates went up after that rate cut, again by about a full percentage point. After the November FOMC meeting, where the committee decided to cut rates by another 0.25%, mortgage rates dipped slightly. In the meantime, here are a few strategies you can use to outsmart higher mortgage rates. There are several ways to manage mortgage payments and ease into your new home. One option is rate reduce, a temporary buy-down that allows you to keep payments low with help from the seller. There are 5 different rate reduce programs available to help you ease into your mortgage payments as you build equity. Another option is an adjustable rate mortgage ARM, which offers the potential for lower monthly payments at the beginning of the loan, with the mortgage rate adjusting after 5, 7, or 10 years. If you're willing to pay a little more upfront, you can also save on monthly payments by paying points to reduce your mortgage rate. This is known as buying down the rate. The idea behind the old saying, "Date the rate, marry the house," is that you commit to a house you're willing to stay in for the long term, and then date the rate by securing the best possible rate at purchase.
Home price trends in 2024.
Mortgage rates always receive the most attention when it comes to the housing market, but home prices and home listings also have a big effect on the home buying experience. In general, home prices go up over time. This is why homeownership is such a smart investment, because once you own the home, its value typically increases and gives you a good chance of making more money once you decide to sell. The flip side of that coin, however, is that rising home prices makes it hard for first-time homebuyers to afford buying a home. The trend continued in 2024 as nationwide median home prices increased each month through the first 9 months compared to the previous year. In a third-quarter report, it was noted that the national median single-family existing home price grew 3.1% from the previous year to $418,700. Home prices remain on solid ground as reflected by the vast number of markets experiencing gains, it was said. A typical homeowner accumulated $147,000 in housing wealth over the last 5 years. Another perspective is that home prices have risen by a similar amount over the last 5 years. Home price changes can vary greatly depending on location, with trends influenced by factors like employment, local economic growth, and the quality of homes in specific areas.
Markets that saw the biggest rise in home prices.
The National Association of Realtors has named what it expects to be the top 10 housing hotspots for 2025.
But we also wanted to identify who were the top 10 markets. And essentially, places like Hartford, Connecticut, Indianapolis, Kansas City. So what we are finding is that areas where we are seeing inventory growth.
Let's take a look at the cities that experienced the most growth in home prices in 2024. By analyzing data from the top 200 housing markets across the country, we identified the markets that saw the biggest change in home listing prices. We focused on the change in price per square foot, as it provides a more accurate comparison than using changes in average listing price between areas. From 2023 to 2024, several real estate markets saw significant increases in price per square foot, with 4 of the top 5 located in the Northeast. Norwich, London, Connecticut, led the list with a 17.41% rise, followed by Syracuse, New York, with a 14.58% increase. New Haven and Hartford, Connecticut, experienced similar growth, while Youngstown, Ohio, rounded out the list. This trend underscores the Northeast prominence, likely driven by greater demand, limited inventory, and economic growth in these areas. Conversely, several markets experienced notable decreases in price per square foot from 2023 to 2024, with Florida cities dominating the list. Naples, Florida, saw the largest decline at 13.16%, followed by Miami, Sarasota, and Punta Gorda. San Francisco also saw a decrease. These drops are likely influenced by changing demand, economic trends, and the aftermath of major hurricanes. Notably, 3 of the cities with the biggest drops have average listing prices above $500,000, showing that even higher-end markets aren't immune to price fluctuations.
Housing inventory in 2024.
One last factor that shaped the housing market in 2024 was the number of homes for sale, also known as housing inventory. While home prices and mortgage rates often grab attention, the number of available listings plays a significant role in what you ultimately purchase. To put it simply, you can't buy what's not for sale. Low housing inventory was a major issue during the real estate frenzy of 2020 to 2021 when mortgage rates were low and homes were quickly snatched up. This trend led to frustrated buyers, hacks to get around low inventory, and rising home prices. Fortunately, housing inventory improved in 2024. Unsold inventory at the end of the third quarter sat at a 4.3-month supply, up from 3.4 months last year. This increase is good news for first-time homebuyers who now have more options. Let's take a look at the markets that saw the most inventory growth this year. Burlington, Vermont, led with a 67.02% rise in new listings, followed by San Diego, California, and Chattanooga, Tennessee, with 63.27% and 63.26% increases, respectively. Markets in Washington state, like Bremerton and Seattle, also saw significant growth. This increase in housing inventory could signal a shift toward a buyer's market in some areas. On the flip side, some areas saw a decrease in the number of homes for sale in 2024. Tallahassee, Florida, experienced a 7.32% decline in inventory, followed by Erie, Pennsylvania, with a 7.04% drop. Other markets like Toledo, Ohio, and York, Pennsylvania, saw modest increases in inventory.
Using 2024 housing trends to be prepared for 2025.
Knowing what happened over the last 12 months can help you prepare for buying a home in 2025. Depending on where you're looking to buy, now could be a great time to get ready to kick off your home search. However, it's important to remember that local market conditions can look quite different from what's happening nationwide. That's why it's so important that you work with a local expert who can help you make the most of what's happening in your specific area. Thanks for watching, WealthTubers. That's a wrap on the cities that saw the most change in 2024. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And as always, see you in the next one.